Hi, my name is Jason Roebuck, and my speech is on abortion, a symptom of the disease. So, first off, in order to change our culture to something that's more moral and more ethical, we first have to change our own minds and our beliefs around sex. Um, our culture terminates 3,000 babies a year, and in the pro-life movement, they would say that the problem is that abortion is legal. And I consider myself a part of that pro-life movement. But I've recently come to the conclusion that even if abortion was made illegal, we'd still have the problem of women that are in crisis pregnancies that would be left with no solution, and in their minds, no way out. So to me, actually, the solution is simple, and it doesn't involve making abortion illegal. First off, we have to look at the fact that there are today more unwed mothers, um, more babies born to unwed mothers than there were in the past. And the idea that artificial birth control and abortion was supposed to regulate that number is actually not true. That's not what happened. Um, so the total number of abortions is a striking number. That since 1972 and when abortion was made legal, there have been over 56 million abortions. So the morality of the issue, the fact that there's a morality vacuum, it was foretold in a in a writing of Pope Paul VI of the Catholic Church in 1968, where he basically said that if we accept artificial birth control um, way back then we would lose a sense of the of the looking at a woman as a whole person, and start to and the woman in the eyes of the culture would start to lose their dignity. And we've seen that pattern of attitude um, where women are looked at as object of gratification rather than, or objects of desire rather than whole people. And that pattern of attitude is kind of not even started in 1968. If you look back in some of the old movies and music, it started, before then, around the turn of the century, and has increasingly got more and more explicit in its nature. And I believe that media and different forms of entertainment that we've accepted and made a part of our culture is what has led us today to living in what some would call a hookup culture. So how do we change? First, I think we need to change by changing the way we look. What I mean by that is the way that we dress, the way that we present ourselves to other people, both women and men. We need to be cognizant or recognize the fact that um, people need to see us as whole people and not just a part of our body. And who's responsible for this? The reality is that both men and women are guilty, and both men and women have to take better custody of their eyes and be careful of what they look at. And modesty doesn't just include how you dress, but also the words that you use and the way that you speak. I found in an article by John Wallen. It was called "On Modesty and Dress," where he talks about what happens to a woman who um, dresses modestly. And it was beautiful. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he says, "Modestly dressed, a woman is more attractive, and the allure of womanly mystery is more is more easily acceptable if if uh, if she's modestly dressed." And the words that he used were just so beautiful in a way that really help you recognize that if somebody takes their modesty seriously, then they'll be taken more seriously. But besides modesty, we need to promote chastity. We need to lose the idea that that young people are going to hook up, whether we give them good advice or not, or that old people, for that matter, are going to be involved in a sexual relationship just because they've been together for a little while. We need to look for ways to promote gatherings of groups rather than dates where um, a couple would go out on a one-on-one date, more opportunities to be accountable to each other, and not just to each other, but to the whole of society. And finally, reasons for waiting have to be something more than just I'm waiting, saving myself for my husband or my wife. Although that's beautiful, um, there needs to be other reasons for waiting. And one of the main ones I'd like to point out is the fact that we need we need to be creating a better society. The things that we're talking about, more moral and ethical society. And one of the best ways to do that is by by displaying the fruit of chastity, by waiting uh, to share yourself with only the person that you're married to. Finally, I don't think we have a crisis of abortion in this country. We have a crisis of morality, and hopefully I've pointed that out. But what we need to do is we need to face the demons that exist in our culture, and the demons are lies and hookups and promiscuity. And the way that we fight those demons is by calling on Jesus, who was sent to us by his Father, by God our Father, and by calling on the Holy Spirit to guide us to to the way. And it's Jesus's way of truth, purity, and chastity. And finally, we just need to change our minds. We need to change our minds around the issue of sex so that we can change our culture slowly but surely.